I am literally blown away with this movie. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a brand new movie review. Today I'm going to be discussing Ad Astra. This film was directed by James Gray and also stars Brad Pitt as astronaut Roy McBride, who undertakes a mission across an unforgiving solar system to uncover the truth about his missing father and his doomed expedition that now, 30 years later, threatens the universe. This is one of my most anticipated films of the year, mostly because of James Gray, who had directed Lost City of Z, which was one of my favorite films of that year, and what that film did for the adventure epic kind of genre within our decade of filmmaking. It really took it back to like the old classic Hollywood adventure films that I absolutely love. Those old expedition adventure movies where you're watching them and just seeing where they're going, and everything that he masterfully crafted in that film absolutely blew my mind and took me back to an old decade of filmmaking that I don't think is in this timely manner, but it had modern technology to it. When you take into Ad Astra, it's giving me that same feeling. This is a space epic, one of massive proportions that is excellently crafted, but more than just excellently crafted, it is beautifully crafted. It is immaculate, it is poignant, and it is absolutely almost a near perfect movie. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time watching this movie. My jaw was on the floor at just the amazing cinematography in this movie and the great looking visuals in here. I mean, my God, some of the sequences in here are spectacular. This is an unforgettable film for me, and there are multiple sequences in here where my mind was just blown. A lot of that mind-blowingness stuff isn't just because of the visual effects, but it's where they take this film, how they really expand this sci-fi world inside the society that doesn't feel too far along and near the future, but I loved how James Gray had crafted this world and added a lot of world building and mythology to this world that Brad Pitt resides in. Whether it's the spacecrafts, or whether it's all these different bases on the moon, on Mars, and on other different planets that they kind of talk about. Whether some of the sequences in this film that take place on Mars, which there is one in Mars that, again, jaw-dropping, edge-of-your-seat type of ride within that sequence, or another one that adds a lot of horror tones, which now I definitely want to see James Gray tackle a horror film after this movie, because there are some sequences in space where space is one of the most horrific places in the world, and very terrifying. And this movie really shows it in one of these Mayday situations where they have to go in and save a ship for unknown reasons, which you really dive into, and the tension building in there was crafted so greatly. Not just those moments, it's the audio, the subtle audio cues, and how they portray and how they have the images, and even the sounds going and flowing through your mind. And again, the way that they portray all these onside the screen is immaculate. I haven't even mentioned Brad Pitt's performance. Brad Pitt is in almost every scene of this film, and he is perfection. A lot of people were saying, oh my God, he's so good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I have to say, this might be Brad Pitt's like top 2 performances of all time. He is fantastic in Ad Astra, and the way and the subtlety to his layers of his character are just so perfectly pronounced inside this movie. And one of my favorite things, in fact, about this movie and the way that they develop his character is the parallels between him and his father, played by Tommy Lee Jones. The parallels that they have for both those characters, and the way that the central focus of this movie is really pushed on, because on the outer edge you're like, oh, this is a space adventure with Brad Pitt. That some people will find boring, but when you really dive into this story, there is so much more to be said when it comes to these two characters and the different dynamics that these two characters have about. There's a very strong message in here that I absolutely adored, that I very much related to, and I think others will as well, and I think there's a lot of stuff that we can learn through within this movie. Before I give you guys my final thoughts on the Ad Astra, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and if you guys are new, because I do tons of early movie reviews like this on a daily basis, talk all sorts of geeky content, and of course, guys, if you guys want to see movies early, make sure to go check out Sandwich on Films down below, and of course, a big round of applause to all my Patreon supporters, because without them, I wouldn't be able to do this, and if you want to shout out yourself, or maybe some other geeky content, go check out that link down below as well. Ad Astra blew my mind away. It is an unforgettable journey into space, and honestly, for this decade of filmmaking, there have been some really good sci-fi adventures, but Ad Astra easily perfected its mind right up to the top. It's immaculate, it's unforgettable, and it's jaw-dropping. Sci-fi space adventure that is like anything that you've ever seen before on the big screen. Take you back to some moments, making you feel like Blade Runner, or in a sense, even 2001: A Space Odyssey, but it's its own thing. Gray has crafted such a unique space opera within this type of movie, and everything that he had done in here really is added on with the great visual cues, the great amazing sound design, the fantastic score, and the excellent cinematography. This film ends up tying itself all together to be perfectly wrapped with the cherry on top of Brad Pitt being the central focus of this film and giving a fantastic performance and one of the best of this year. I absolutely loved this movie. I walked out and told the screening rep, I love this movie. Usually I don't like to cuss like that, but I was so profoundly in love with this movie and everything that this movie had given me that I walked out with my expectations when I walked in so high up and my expectations being blown away. So with all that said, I'm going to give Ad Astra an A+. I know what your guys' thoughts are on this movie. I'm really curious to hear your guys' ones on this. This is truly one of my favorite films of the year. I'm blown away with this. I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as I do, and if you definitely can, make sure to check it out in IMAX. Thank you guys again so much for watching this. Hit that like and subscribe button. Check out Cinematography Films. Go check out my Patreon as well. And of course, guys, until next time, stay classy.